Oh my goodness, where do I start? What two incredible stories and journeys we've just been on. And I really, first and foremost, wanted to kind of add to it in my own experience as a mum and going through that journey and that process of coming back into alignment that Evgenia talks about, and also realising the power of us and the human body, and that our energy speaks before we even enter a room, and our perception, our beliefs that we hold within us that have been ingrained from childhood have a massive impact into the way that we see the world. So I'll take you on my journey back sort of 6 years ago when I found myself having to evacuate from a toxic relationship. I was a single mum, sleeping on a mattress in temporary accommodation, and my body was not in the best way. I was suffering with sciatica. I was on crutches at one point. Knowing what I know now is that a lot of my physical ailments were related to my state of being, and that I was going through so much trauma in my life, my body was just crying for help. I stayed in this state for probably a couple of years before I started to venture into other, things like yoga, meditation, and other sort of concepts that at the time were new to me. And I didn't realise how profound, particularly, the Eastern culture embody this into their way of being daily. And I went on this journey of ups and downs, and I did meet another partner who I'm still married to, which has had its own complications as relationships do. But I still found myself being in this state of victimhood, and that even though I was progressing slightly and I went back to my career, I was still feeling incredibly stuck, and I couldn't work out why. And the pivotal moment for me was about 2 years ago, and in that conversation that I had with a fellow parent at a children's party, where he asked me, what lights you up? What do you enjoy? What brings you joy? And I couldn't answer him. And I had this snapshot of a moment where I reflected back on my life over the last prior 4 or 5 years, and realised that I'd completely lost everything about who I was and what I enjoyed in life. And then I just took the decision in that moment to try to unpick and understand when it happened, how it happened, and who I actually wanted to be and what lit me up. So I started to get inquired about coaching. I had mentors both in my professional career and also outside of that, and I've met some incredible women along the journey, and started my journey with Global Women earlier this year, where in that moment I decided that I'd completely come off social media. Didn't post pictures of anything about myself. I was very fearful about being seen and visible, and that came from a place of that fear about vulnerability and being out of alignment with who I am and what I stood for. So in becoming part of Global Women, it was my journey to visibility and being on the social media challenge, which then in turn obviously I've carried on and gone through the media training, which has been absolutely incredible. And I think standing here in front of you now and speaking and feeling even comfortable to share some of my experiences, and I'm sure some of you that have already met me and spoken with me would have no idea about some of the things that have gone on 6 years ago. And I've been very, very fearful to show that side of me. Fear of judgment, fear that people would see me in a different light. But I think mostly it came down to my perception of myself, feeling unworthy and out of alignment, and that my story would represent a side of me that was negative. And after doing much self-reflection and having amazing people come into my world and support me through the process and the unveiling and opening, I got into energy healing, and I'm now a Reiki practitioner, so I incorporate that as part of my coaching tools as well. I'm a big fan of the quantum shifts and quantum leaping and some of the concepts that Tracy kindly sort of went through with us today. But ultimately, some of the science behind it is mind-blowing. It's incredible. But ultimately, my passion and my mission is to help women with their mindset shift, and that you do get to choose who you want to be and how you show up in the world ultimately. But there is a process to that. There's a journey, there's an unfolding. You don't wake up one day and just everything changes. It takes time, it takes dedication, and you need to do the work. And with the work comes the soul-led side of it, where I believe in energy healing, and that meditation forms an integral part of your daily life, and will shift you internally and reflect outwardly the person who you are yet to become and the best version of you.